Good evening, everybody. It is Hugo Quintanilla with Long and Foster. I am your realtor here with the Live at 5. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're tuning in on Facebook or on YouTube, they'll be live. We'll also have the replay on both places. And yeah, you can follow me online at Hugo for Long and Foster on Instagram and most social media platforms. My phone number is 240-389-4846 and website is yourrealtorhugo.com because I am your realtor Hugo and this is your space 15 minutes every day to learn a little bit more about real estate and how you can profit. So today's been a really interesting day, very exciting day because we had Jerome Powell actually hold off on increasing and the Fed increasing rates. So that's great news. A lot of people are calling for a pivot. So we could even go as far to say is right now would be a great time to kind of get into the market and think about what you need, what's coming on the horizon. And because of that, we are going to be talking about how to invest in real estate. It's not difficult because what you have to understand is that it's all in the mind of the beholder. Because investing, more than anything else, is a matter of understanding how to multiply your money and making the most out of your money while you're continuing your 9 to 5, your career, your personal entrepreneurship endeavors. Really, we want to make the money work for you. And I got a great phone call today from a close friend that really got me thinking, hey, right now wouldn't be a bad time to get into the market and wouldn't be a bad time to start talking to people that you trust about these questions that you might have. So we'll delve a little bit into that today. I really do appreciate all of you that check out the stream. I can't tell you guys enough. It makes me smile so much when I see you. And thank you again for all the support, the questions, and the feedback. I can't thank you guys enough because really you're making the show better and you're giving me a whole bunch of tips and tricks that I've never even really thought about. So I really do appreciate you and cannot wait to keep bringing you more good information. So it's not very difficult. It's really quite simple when it comes to investing. And the important thing is with any investing is getting into the game. Now, you don't want to get into the game haphazardly, willy-nilly, a lo loco, como dicen. You want to have a strategy and a plan in place. And if you don't want to self-manage yourself in this arena, get someone that knows how to. Look at their reviews. Get a professional that understands how to money manage because that little bit of time that you took to invest in looking up someone can really change the trajectory of how much money you make in the long term for your investments. I recently had the experience of working with a law firm, and the law firm was horrible. So it really made the whole case a lot more difficult than it had to be. So with things like that, you always want to double check and make sure that you're doing your due diligence on the professionals that you're working with and taking your time to vet everyone that you know. That's why we instruct you to work with a realtor. 9 times out of 10, they usually have someone that is well versed in the area that you're looking for, especially when it comes to real estate. We know real estate attorneys, we know organizations with professionals that adhere to certain standards. So there's a lot more behind just being a realtor if the person really takes the job seriously. We have tons of people that call themselves realtors every day that for the most part we call them secret agents because no one really knows that they do real estate. They don't promote themselves out there. They might do their deals personally or by referral, which is all fine and good, but a realtor, you know, there's a million ways to be a realtor, I guess is the best way to say that. And just how much a person knows can vary from realtor to realtor. So make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you're understanding that sometimes just because someone hasn't been in the business a long time doesn't mean that they don't know a lot, and vice versa. Sometimes experience and age, if you have access to a realtor like that, can really make the difference. Vet the realtors, because more than anything you want to talk to them and understand where they're coming from, and can they see your vision for what you want. And I say that to say this because investing in real estate sounds a little bit daunting. It sounds a little scary. More than anything else, it's a lot of money. But if you break it down into chunks, and if you think about the matter in a way that makes sense, it doesn't matter if the rates go up or the rates go down, you're still going to make money. I always tell people, don't sell properties. Hold on to them once you purchase them. Try to lease them out if you can. Be a good landlord and work from there. But one of the tried and true methods of making a lot of money in real estate has always been house flipping, or even house hacking. In house flipping, you take property that might be distressed or needs some sort of maintenance or some sort of update or upkeep, or even a remodel. Under a good eye, a good contractor's eye, that property can then, with that investment and that time and that sweat equity, can up in price, and that person can sell it. I always suggest, hold off more than 12 months because of capital gains. You have different rules there. So make sure you talk to your tax professional, again, to a person that you trust and knows your situation. And it makes a difference. If you're in a rush to do it before the 12 months, then of course you'll be taxed at the rate that you make as normal income. But if you wait, then it's going to be a different rate altogether. So talking to your tax professional is essential, because you could actually be under or over reporting, and or not have the money when it comes to that time. But there are tons of other benefits that come tax time owning a property has. I bring that again to come up with this. Have you heard about the homestead tax relief credit? It's an application that you do or can do every year. It needs to be submitted by May, and it's something that really helps cap your expenses. There's some people that I see, it's a few $100s, a few thousand in other cases. But look into that, because something like that can help save you a lot of money if you're living in your primary residence. It's intended for that, to only to be used for primary residence. Now, why am I bringing up primary residences in investing? A primary residence can still be an investment. Just because you live in it doesn't mean that it just is the property you live in. Oh, I just bought it. It's just a thing, and I'm going to pay this off, and that's it. No, improving it, making it better, making it more hospitable, making it more aesthetically pleasing, making it more just overall a better property adds to property value. Now, don't go crazy. Don't go like changing this or changing that, and have a plan, have a direction, have an aesthetic. Work with someone that can give you a good vision and a good understanding of start to finish what this whole project is going to look like. And work with professionals. Again, we talked about electricity and plumbing have to be done by permitted professionals, and preferably all of them are done by licensed and bonded individuals. If something goes wrong, if someone cuts a pipe, if someone bursts through the wall and ruins the electrical, who is going to be responsible for that? And that's what that insurance goes in to taking care of. Even I have insurance if there's some sort of malpractice on my end. So make sure that you're working with people that you trust and and spending that time while you're waiting for the equity to build. And what I mean by equity building is every year you're going to gain some, in a perfect world, you'll ideally be gaining some value every year. Not every market gains value, of course, because it depends on what the old price was, the new price, when you purchased, how much you put in. It's all varies. But around here in Montgomery County, we've been seeing about 3% appreciation on average. So you can expect about 3% on the value of your home every year. Now, if it goes up, if it goes down, if it varies from home to home, those are all cases that can occur. But an average of 3% is not bad. We've seen 4, 5, 6% and times. So even when markets have seen record declines, we're still seeing appreciation upwards. And that's what you want in a good investment. So take your time in picking out the area that you want to invest in and live in, and make that primary home a project home. It might not have everything you want, it might not be updated at all, it might really look not up to what you would expect. Really is the best way, the nicest way I could say it. It's not HGTV ready, basically. And you can take that home over time and invest into it. You could also get that property probably at a lower price because the person that was selling it didn't have the time. This market's very competitive. And with the Fed taking the time to pause the rate hikes and increases, that's going to have people talking. Are we ready to pivot? Have we hit the top of inflation? Are we going to start to go down? And that's what I believe, is that we are seeing a stagnation in these increases, and we're going to start to see the crest down, hopefully. Now, it's not going to be as soon as tomorrow, but hopefully at an ideal time. But remember, the lower the rates, the more competition. It's a ebb and flow of supply and demand, because as money becomes more affordable, there are more people in the market. We still have only X amount of homes, and now X amount of homes has been reduced by a third compared to last year. The year will end up showing that we were about a third of the way of the business that we were doing last year nationally. So those trends didn't impact every market the same, but people are not getting the type of reception on their properties they were before, as last year. We were getting multiple offers with people going above asking, 20, 30, $40,000 or more above asking. We were having feeding frenzies of people that were trying to get into these homes. If it was nice and it was at a good price and the listing agent knew how to work with multiple offers, the property sold. So it was really a great time. And it's still a great time because there's such a demand. But what I'm seeing is that the overzealous nature of maybe some sellers leads to some delays in the purchase and the transaction, because right now everyone is having difficulties approving. So the people that might have the ability to purchase that higher priced home at a more willful price are not really that inclined to put themselves out there and go do it. Everyone wants a deal. You can't really blame them. You wanted a deal when you got the home. So you got to think of it that way. Do you want to sell it at a price at your maximum price, or do you want to sell it at maybe a lower price? And it all varies on the season. Sometimes it's not ideal to wait till a certain time. Sometimes the time is now. You really have to discuss to what's happening in your market right now with a professional, because they'll be the best to guide you not only on the programs that there are to invest in at the time. They might be able to help and save you money, especially if you're working on a project, but also might open up your eyes to a professional that might know some more tricks and tips that might help you evade some pitfalls. For example, there are just companies like Curbio, that's a partner with Long and Foster that we work very closely with, that helps to remodel full properties for sale for prior to closing for free, and you pay at closing. So all the work is done up front. They give you then an estimate within 24 hours. Really, the work starts within 72. They're trusted and they do really good work. So there are options for every case. And when it comes to investing, it's one of the biggest option filled blocks there is when it comes to real estate, because if you have the money, there's a lot of flexibility. You usually need 2 years of financial income information, be it taxes, uh, 1099s, W-2s, really anything that can show where your income is coming for the last 2 years would be great. bank statements work. If you have your social security, that would be great. Tax IDs, you could also purchase as well. The difference between tax ID and social security purchases is the availability of certain programs and the availability of certain lenders to work with those programs. So tax ID, you have to remember that it's always going to be at least 20% down. It's rare the program that has less than that, but I would also look at the fine print and make sure. There's might be something that I don't know about. So if there are any other options, please feel free to let me know. I'm always willing to give my clients more options when it comes to tax IDs. But at the moment, the standard is about 20%. Now, for closing costs and everything else that you need at the end, you're going to be talking about 5%. So for someone with tax ID, you're going to need about a quarter of the price for the value of the home. So if the home is listed at 100,000, you're going to need at least 25%. So that's 25,000 to purchase that home. And we're talking start to finish with your closing costs and your home inspections and everything included, all in together. Maybe even a little bit of money extra going back to you, because I like to keep that number a little bit overestimated so that you have enough money. The last thing you want is not to have enough money when it comes to closing time and closing costs. What else can I tell you with that? If you're living in the property for at least 5 to 7 years, you're making enough back in your equity that even if you didn't improve anything, you're still hopefully going to be in the green. If you improve the property in areas such as the kitchen, the garage, the HVAC, the roof, the water, lighting, if you invest in those areas, bathrooms, bathrooms, not so much so, because bathrooms can vary. You can spend a lot of money on a bathroom and really mess up the place, and you can spend a lot of money on a bathroom and really upgrade it. It just really depends on who's doing the bathroom. I would say if you're going to do a bathroom or a basement, do the basement before the bathroom. Finish a basement because you'll get a lot more value. But the thing with a basement is that again, you could waste a lot of money doing a basement poorly. So you want to work with someone that's not going to lead you down a rabbit hole and is going to think about the future, because um, these things have to be done correctly. And you always want to get permits for something that's going to be a working area of more than 6 surrounding feet. So that's something to always keep in mind. Mm, In the regards of the investments that you make in the house and the order that you make, it all varies, because sometimes there might be a property that already has some of these things done, but you can never go wrong with updating systems. That's one of the things that takes the most damage and use and wear and tear, and people forget about the most. So knowing, your HVAC, knowing your water, knowing your heat, knowing your electrical, knowing your stove and ranges, where all that's coming from and how that is coming into the house, that's really crucial and important. If you're in the condo market, making sure that you're using approved vendors. Sometimes there are stipulations about who can come in at what times. So make sure you're aware of those so that you don't get fined or get under somebody's skin about that, because I'm sure someone will report it and it'll be a big problem. But if you have any further questions, they all come at that point at a more specific level, because a social security can really do so much more. You can do from 20% or less. Really the lowest I've ever seen is 100% financed home, and with the knockout program. And like I said, and on one of these, lives, that's a 100% financed home. So you have to do some training for it. You have to go through a program for it. But if you meet the requirements, it's a 100% financed home. And it's just amazing when you see these dreams come true. So if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to learn, there are tons of programs out there. Maryland MMP is one of them, and there are programs for veterans and nurses and teachers that all have a benefit of one way or another. So talk to people, because what you're going to hear and start seeing more than anything else is people telling you that, hey, now's the time. Now's the pivot. Pivot is going to be the biggest word of 2021, 2024, because it's going to be another pivot year where you're going to have, okay, we saw the rates go all the way up, and now we are hoping that they start to come down. But as things start to go down, the economy will start to speed back up again. And we've already had a pent up demand, but there are a lot of things to take into consideration. We're looking at the jobs market. We're looking at people's debt. There is record debt. And sometimes what's preventing a lot of you from getting into a home, point blank period, is your debt. So paying off your cards before you get into the mindset of buying a home is crucial. Paying off more than your minimum, doubling it, tripling it if you can. Get out of the habit of using those cards, because the more that you spend on those cards, the more you're delaying the future income you could be producing. Use those cards on occasion, on season, when you want to relax on vacation, but don't use them every day. Don't use them for your living expenses in the fashion that you're going to be relying on them and you're drowning in them. I get the concept of leveraging your debt. There are tons of millionaires and billionaires that advocate for that, but I come from the school of thought that bird in hand is better than bird in bush. And really, it's not to say keeping some money diversified is wrong, but I think it's only the smart way to play it. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. And some people think like, oh, you should be always investing towards a goal or investing towards the next thing. I get that. But you always have to think about tomorrow. You have to think about, okay, where can my money, double faster than this? Because sometimes real estate is not the key moving chip for somebody, but it's a great plan and a great autopilot strategy for a lot of people, especially if you're not someone that wants to be on top of a property. You can hire people, the right people, to do it, and you reap the rewards. And it's just a matter of taking your time and doing this as you're doing your normal career. I know a lot of professionals that do this as a side job, but you gotta have trust. And sometimes a lot of people can't let go of the control. And there are realtors that are here for that. We're here to help you with that. So, you got to let some of that control go, because there are professionals that you've hired to do it. So, you got to make sure that you're sometimes not doing the work for the people you employ, and just hope for the best, because really there are so many opportunities in real estate. It just depends on how far you're willing to go, how much you're willing to spend, and how much time you're willing to give it. We could look at even properties in Ohio, all over the United States. If you're looking at that sort of spectrum of it, like outside of Maryland, the most important thing is that you visit these properties. Make sure at least go out there a couple of times. Check them out once a year. There's nothing like boots on the ground. Yeah, the prices look good, but you got to understand what it is that's around that place. Why has the area been impacted? What has happened? What are the risks? Do a survey of the climate. Once you start getting out of your surroundings, what is the climate in the place you're going to purchase? Once you go internationally, it's one of the first things you got to look at. What's the topography? What's the geography? What are we looking at? Can you even drink water here? So things to think about, guys. We can spend all day talking about this. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. Again, this has been Hugo Quintanilla with Long and Foster, talking a little bit about how to get started in investing in real estate. And if you have any further questions, feel free and leave them in the comments below. My email is hugo@lnf.com. Phone number 240-389-4846. And my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. This has been the Live at 5, your little space, 15 minutes every day to learn about real estate. And if you have any further questions, we're always here to help you out. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.